Do you have questions about what nature-based occupational therapy actually is and what it looks like in practice? My name's Bronwyn Painter and I'm the NatureOT. I've had conversations with almost 200 occupational therapists in 28 countries about nature and occupational therapy. And a consistent theme that comes through is that you might be an OT who loves nature in your own life. You might enjoy activities outside. You might enjoy gardening, bushwalking, kayaking, any number of outdoor nature-connected activities. And you might appreciate how that supports your health and well-being and how good you feel engaging in those occupations. But you might be stuck on how do you incorporate more nature into your OT work. And so in this video, I'm going to share with you 3 ways to consider nature in our OT work that are based on how we contact nature. So I'll just minimize myself there. So the ways we experience nature can be categorized into these 3 areas. So it might be indirect contact with nature, incidental contact with nature, or intentional contact with nature. So indirectly is situations where we might experience nature, but we're not actually in nature. So it might be views from a window, it might be watching nature on television, it might be nature images indoors. Incidental contact with nature is describes situations where nature is present, but it's incidental to the activity or the occupation that's occurring. So we might be running or cycling, which can be done indoors, or we might be, meeting some friends in a park and having a social connection conversation. So the activity could occur without the nature, but it happens to occur in incidental contact with nature. And then intentional contact with nature is where nature is an inherent part of the activity. So something like gardening, camping, bird watching, conservation, volunteer work are all occupations that nature is an inherent part of it. So, thinking through an OT lens, it's ways of kind of grading our contact with nature. And then if we think about that in terms of what might we do as an OT with our indirect, incidental or intentional contact with nature. So indirectly, it can be some really simple things, and having a nature focus in our work does not need to be complex. It can be very simple. It can be things as simple as opening windows, creating something natural that's worthwhile looking at, orienting furniture towards windows, opening curtains in people's homes. There's particular evidence that views of trees are associated with increased levels of happiness. Allowing natural light into an interior environment. There's lots of research about natural light in workplaces in terms of productivity and mood. But for all of us indoors, the ability to have natural light really impacts our mood. Bringing nature inside. If you're in a workplace where you really can't get outside with clients, then how can you incorporate more nature inside? Can you have can you have plants inside? Can you have textures, colours, smells, sounds of nature indoors? Even something like, in a lot of medical waiting rooms, there's these terrible kind of sort of infomercials of like medical, content. Could you have nature images, nature documentaries? Certainly where I live in Adelaide, in South Australia, our Royal Adelaide Hospital has nature images on kind of a scrolling thing on their computers in the outpatients clinics. So, really simple things like that actually can have an impact on people. If we're thinking incidental contact with nature, could it be that you sit outside to meet with clients, that you engage in a walk and talk in nature? If your intervention is based around talking, coaching, goal setting, is it possible to do that outdoors in some way? Or is it possible for you to influence the outdoor environment in your workplace or your clinic, or on a bigger scale, you know, to have a voice in urban design consultancy, you know, consultation processes? A lot of local councils, for example, will engage in a community consultation around urban design. And as an OT, could you, you know, turn up and be an advocate for green space and accessible green space? And then if we're thinking intentionally, how do we intentionally as OTs work with nature in a therapeutic way? And this really comes back to our core abilities in activity analysis, in you know, assessment of clients, goal setting, understanding their needs, and activity analysis around how do these nature-based activities support our clients to achieve their goals, and engage in meaningful occupation for them. Many people find nature-connected occupations really meaningful and inherently engaging. So, you know, OTs are doing work with lots of different nature-based occupations: gardening, walking, water-based activities, adventure activities, mountain biking, abseiling, camping. And maybe you need to collaborate with, you know, other providers who have particular skills in those areas. And some, you know, some simple things of sensory mindfulness, actually connecting with nature using our senses, or nature-based, you know, art and craft activities, which sounds really, you know, as I say it, it sounds really old school OT, but actually can be really impactful and meaningful for people. So, you know, there are many ways that we can start to incorporate more nature into our daily work as OTs. And to summarise, really, nature is all around us. Nature is everywhere, even, you know, in an urban environment. If we can see outside, you know, the sky, the clouds, the air movement are all parts of nature. So I would encourage you to think about how can you include more nature in your interaction with clients, whether it's indirect, if you can't get outside, or if you can get outside, you know, like choose to do that with clients. And if you have the ability to intentionally work with nature in a therapeutic way, then just start to incorporate small changes in your work. So I encourage you to notice where the nature is in your day, where it is in your clients' days, and where the opportunities are for increasing awareness of nature. So it can be really simple. It's really great if it can be done daily, and it doesn't have to be about going somewhere else either. So if you would like to create a plan for how you can include more nature into your daily OT work, you can book a free 15-minute chat with me, and we can come up with some ideas. We can brainstorm some simple ideas that, you know, you can do something tomorrow with clients that is nature related. So have a look at the link below, book a time, and I would love to meet you and talk about what you can do with nature in your daily OT work. If you know someone else who might benefit from this video or be interested in working more with nature, then please share it. And if you have any questions, then comment below. So thank you, take care, take nature.